I know when I'm sitting with clients, and I've worked with over 5,000 couples and people, that that can be sensitive. But I want to be thorough today. I want this to be a show that you can share with your friends on social media and say, you need to watch this because maybe it explains something in your life, okay? Another seed, another thing that can cause out of control behavior is abuse. Now, abuse is the intentional violation of another person's spirit, soul, or body. Now, this can include their emotions, can include their sexuality. The experience of abuse damages a person on so many different levels that depending on the age of the abuse, you wouldn't even have the cognitive ability to process the amount of trauma that you've experienced by being hit, by being yelled at, by being sexually used. So I want to talk about some of these because these I have seen when we take that and go back to the seed and we clean that out and take that out, all of the fruit disappears. It's easier to stop an addiction. It's easier to stop lying. It's easier to stop the overeating or not eating, okay? So this is important. I want to talk about physical abuse. Now, physical abuse is when you're being hit, okay? When you're being threatened to be hit, okay, on a pretty regular basis. When the punishment doesn't equal the crime. It seems like mom and dad were getting out their emotional pain on you. And you would definitely have felt, and you might even have scars on your body from that. You know, just last night I was having a conversation about someone who, you know, they had to go get their own switch and then they were just hit, okay? This could be brutal depending on the mom or dad. Now, there's legitimate path of disciplining a child that moves towards discipleship, but this would not be that, and you would know that. Emotional abuse. This can happen in a couple ways. You try to share your feelings and you're shut down. You shared your feelings and it's used against you as a weapon, as a point of war, and it's a way to put shame on you and put you down. The emotions that maybe mom was allowed to feel or dad was allowed to feel, but nobody else was. The amount of anger that was allowed to be expressed could be emotional abuse. All of this can lead you to shutting down emotionally. Well, when you shut down, one of the primary ways that you're made, you're going to have to deal with that. And so you can get an out of control behavior or an addiction to start moving you to medicate that. Spiritual abuse. It's when, and this is going to be more in religious families, where they use the law to really crush your spirit. You're not allowed to ask legitimate questions about spiritual issues. You're not allowed to examine the beliefs. You're not allowed to even call out the hypocrisy that you see in your own home. It's covered up and you're blasted with scripture. And you're like, that doesn't make sense to me. But you're not allowed to process or spiritually develop. It feels like you're being controlled as opposed to being encouraged and feeling safe. You don't feel safe. And that's spiritual abuse, okay? Sexual abuse, that's any sexual behavior with someone significantly older than you. It doesn't have to be mom or dad. It can be anyone else. It could be a rape even in your adolescence or adulthood. But when you grow up and there was a sexual encounter that causes secrets, that causes you to shut down, that causes you to question yourself, it can shatter so many different things in your being, spiritual, emotional, physical, all kinds of things, even neurological. And so it's important that if you've never shared about a sexual abuse incident, that you do. I can tell you I've worked with sexual addiction for over 40 years. More than 80%, closer to 90% of the men and women who struggle in that area were sexually abused. And the way they dealt with it was by sexual compulsion. Now, some drink, you know, some do other drugs, some do prescription, some get super religious, some just work to death, okay? But they don't deal with the seed, and we want you to deal with that. Shame. And shame is different from guilt, okay, but this can be a big deal. Guilt is, I feel bad about something I did. Shame is, I am bad. And you can have shame for some of the sexual choices you've made in the past. You can have shame from an abortion or participating in an abortion. And if you have, we have a great product on the website called Grace After Abortion. And it can really help you. Now, also you can have shame from any past decisions that you've made, and you just get stuck in that. Now, modeling is also another issue that can be a seed. Modeling means this is what mom and dad did. So I want to talk about modeling, not the kind that, where someone's walking down a runway, okay? What I mean by modeling is these are behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs that your parents or the significant people in your life modeled before you. Like social modeling, they had friends or they didn't have friends. They drank with their friends, they didn't drink with their friends. Emotional modeling, being able to model, to be able to share feelings without injuring the other person, being able to be present emotionally or not, okay? These are the examples you had. Spiritual modeling, whether spirituality was about love, about care, connection, about celebration, or was it about control and law and forcing you to and not hearing you? Sexual modeling, no information, some information, healthy information. What was the modeling you've experienced? And again, financial modeling, was it a conversation you could have? Did they teach you how to save, invest, or encourage you in these areas? And as you evaluate the attitudes and beliefs of your parents, and in the book we get much more into this, you'll get a sense where some of your ideas and beliefs may develop. Now again, the purpose of reviewing these beliefs and attitudes is not to use that information to blame anyone. Blaming does not move you towards change. Your choice to duplicate the model is still yours, okay? And you can get a grip on the things that control you, okay? But if you would rather be blaming, looking for excuses, and listen, Christians do that. They blame sometimes God. They blame others, okay? We got to stop that and take responsibility, because when you do, you can then change and move, okay? You can put into place proven strategies that can help you so that you don't have to have blame in your life. We don't have to go down that road of where we, like Adam and Eve, Adam says, well, the woman, right? The woman says the snake didn't have an out, okay? He just got, he got the whole dirt assignment from God. But we don't want to stay in a place of blame. Blame will definitely keep you from getting a grip in any area of your life. And I've worked with so many people who, when they start healing, they get stuck there. You don't want to get stuck. It really doesn't matter who did what. It matters that you own the pain and you give the responsibility to who needs that responsibility. And maybe you need to do some of the work that we have and get a grip so that you can heal from those hurts and those connections from those people. But also, we need to look at taking full responsibility, okay, so that I can heal.